From KUNC and the NPR network, this is In The NoCo. I'm Brad Turner, in today for Erin O'Toole. Your social media use and how it affects your career prospects. If you've been job hunting recently, you know what to do on LinkedIn. You keep things professional and probably not too controversial. But a University of Colorado researcher says what you do on other platforms, like Facebook or X or Blue Sky, might matter more than you think. Jason Thatcher, who's been a guest here before on In The NoCo, has been studying how hiring managers use social media to make decisions about candidates. And Jason found that 60% of hiring managers decide who to interview or who to hire, in part by checking out applicants' social media accounts.
Think about who you really want to see your content, and think about who shares content about you when you're on the market, right? Really think through not just what you're sharing, but the people around you are sharing about you.
So, how do your Facebook rants about the recent election affect your chances of landing that dream job? And what can you do to make your social media accounts more appealing to hiring managers? And for starters, what are the red flags that hiring managers look for? Jason had some advice.
So if you're posting that you're partying too much, probably not a very good idea.
Okay.
But they are also looking at the way people posted about each other and the way they interacted with each other. So if you're going on Reddit and you're trolling everyone, they saw that as a red flag because they thought you might be combative at work.
Wow.
If you're going on Twitter and deliberately posting controversial stuff, they're like, yeah, maybe this isn't somebody we want around.
Right.
And we even had one manager that commented, I really don't like hiring extreme sports fans. And we're like, why? And they're like, well, we don't like him because all they talk about is football.
Wow.
And they wanted someone a little more balanced in their workplace, right? So they were getting all this information that legally you shouldn't be looking at, because the way the law is written is we're supposed to look at knowledge, skills, and ability to hire. But what social media had done was add this whole new component of information about how we live and we think and what we do in our spare time to that hiring process.
Right. So what I say about fantasy football on X might influence how a hiring manager thinks I'm going to behave in the office.
Let me give you a constraint there, though. It's okay that you're posting that. It's that if that's all you post about, and it's a torrent of posts about fantasy football. If you're like obsessively posting 50 times a day, have you heard this rumor? Have you done this? Have you done that? Ooh, that suggests some other issues.
Is this practice legal? Does Colorado have restrictions on screening a candidate through their social media activity?
It's actually really interesting. What Colorado says is that you can look if it's public and if it's not password protected. However, a potential employer cannot say to you, you need to unlock all your accounts. They also can't ask for your login. They also can't ask for your passwords. People are adults. People have the right to choose what they disclose and they don't disclose. And what they choose not to disclose should not affect their employment opportunities.
So pay attention to those privacy settings on your account, whatever
Absolutely.
You're saying. Yeah. We are in a very polarized political environment right now. What kinds of political affiliations or activism have you seen that affected hiring managers' decisions?
One thing that we do know, based on the last 10 years of work, is that when people are from the same political party, they tend to rate each other a little bit better. You tend to think they're more likely to be a better organizational citizen. You tend to like them more. So that's one thing we know. Now, does it hurt you a little bit if the other person's on the other party? Yeah, but not so much. It doesn't swamp out information about job skills and stuff. So it's additional information as opposed to disqualifying information. And then the second piece, though, that's even more interesting that our early findings are showing is that if you post not just about political issues, but issues people are mad at each other about, it absolutely causes trouble. So say I'm posting about immigration right now. There's an ongoing, enduring hot button issue for both sides of the party line.
Right.
Okay. Posting about immigration raises people's suspicion in you. It can result in people thinking that you're a less productive employee. They may think you're going to be a troublemaker at work. If you're posting about something that gets people mad, it wipes out that information about skills and people focus on the hot button issue.
So just the fact that you would speak out on something that some people find controversial, it turns into a red flag in that situation.
It becomes a red flag, and the stronger your statements, the bigger the red flag.
Wow. Jason, let's talk about what we can do to protect ourselves if we have social media accounts and we look for a job, which is a lot of people. So if I'm thinking about going on the job market, should I prune my social media accounts and how should I go about that?
So my advice would be 100%. If you're looking for work, right, you really need to think about, as you start that thought process, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months out, start locking down your content. Okay, because whatever you've posted has been archived and curated and is searchable in a generative AI. It's been scraped by Google. Okay, and they archive it for a period of time. Once you put that into lockdown, at least in Google, after a couple of weeks, your data gets curated and goes away for the most part. So that helps manage that initial posting, right? Those old posts. And then the other thing to think about is you can't lock everything down. People think you're weird if you have nothing in social these days, especially if you're young.
Wow.
So have a LinkedIn account, right? Set it up a while before graduation. Create some history so it's credible. So it doesn't look like you just set this up for looking for work. Make a few friends. Put a few things out there that show you know something about what you're going to do. Because what we know is that managers looked at LinkedIn, they looked at X, the website formerly known as Twitter, and they look at Facebook. Those are the three most frequently viewed places. So put some work-related information out there and maybe have an account, but keep it private, which shows you have some discretion on the other two.
So just avoiding social media altogether is not the answer to stand out to employers.
If you're a complete cipher, it's not a very good idea. People feel a little uncomfortable.
Wow. So it really is about striking a balance.
Absolutely.
We've talked about what not to do. Are there any other things that we should do or post about if we want to increase our odds for getting a job interview or getting hired?
One thing that we do know is that managers actually notice when people post positive things about their jobs. So if you say good things about your employer, people go, hey, this is somebody I want around. Because nobody wants to work with a sorry Gus, right? Everyone wants to work with a happy Gus. Or what was the phrase a friend of mine used? He called them Eeyores, social media Eeyores, like the sad donkey from Winnie the Pooh. That's a tough sell. So think about the tone that you're posting in for any kind of content. People also don't want to hire people that say bad things about others. They may like your post because it's funny, but that doesn't mean they want you around.
Some people might think this is unfair to have to hide who they are and how they feel on social media because they might be judged by a future employer. What do you say to someone who feels that way?
Man, all I can say is this is life. Is it fair? Probably not. But what we've discovered over time is a lot of people misinterpret or misconstrue the things that we post, right?
Yeah.
And so it's okay to be a little bit careful, I think, about what you post. Be measured about it. Is it fair? Probably not. But does it happen? Absolutely.
Jason Thatcher is a researcher at CU Boulder and studies how employers use social media to screen job applicants. If you liked this interview, you should check out our recent conversation with Jason on how to fight what's called techno stress. Those are the technology-related hassles that make your workday more difficult. There's a link to that interview in our show notes and at KUNC.org. That's it today for In The NoCo. I'm Brad Turner. Thanks for listening.